Hello there. Slightly different tasting today. As I may have mentioned in one or two of the videos I've done recently, Wine Searcher is having a go at making some wine this year, and many of our team are taking part in that. And part of what we've done is, having bought some fruit from Hawke's Bay, from the Bridge-Parr Triangle, from a plot owned by a company called Great Wine Services, and we bought some fruit from their Sowersby vineyard. We picked that, so we've had that trucked up to a winery in West Auckland. And last week, a group of us went and we watched as the fruit was put through the crusher. So one of the things we did was we brought some of the fruit back to the office for the rest of the team who hadn't been able to join us to try. So I've got here some grapes. Sorry, everybody else has had a go at these already, so they're quite sparse looking bunches, but those are our Syrah grapes. Then I've got some of the immediate free run juice here. And then we did a cold soak overnight. And after a day or so's fermentation, we have a sample here to try there. So I was just going to talk you through tasting through those. So the first thing to say is we're looking at some Syrah here. So the Australians would call it Shiraz, but this is a clone called 470, and evidently 470 is supposed to give quite rich, sort of chocolatey flavours. It's supposed to be quite spicy, but doesn't have particularly large bunches. Some Syrah clones have larger bunches, and these are quite open bunches, so they don't suffer from rot quite as badly as some others. And you'll see what we've got here, some fair-sized berries, and if you taste them, there's a nice crunch to the pips. They're clearly brown, they're not green and giving off nasty flavours in there. There's a nice sweetness, and there's not a lot of astringency coming from the skin, so that seems quite ripe and lovely and smooth. Now, part of what we've got here are what are called hen and chick berries. So you'll see the larger berries there compared to the smaller ones there. So that's as a result of something that's happened at flowering called shatter or millerondage, depending as to which part of the world you come from. And actually that's a great thing, because these tiny berries tend to have more concentrated tannins, they tend to have good acidity, and so these are really useful. So let's have a see and see if they taste any different. I don't know whether it's right or not, but certainly the in there feels thicker. There's more sort of structure to it. There's a slightly sort of richer, oilier texture to the fruit. So you can certainly see a difference there. Now, we chose to destem everything first. As you can see, the pedicels are quite green. I think the destemming process was quite rough on the wine. So let's have a look first of all at the juice. You'll see there are plenty of bits in it there. You've got a nice colour. It's fairly cloudy, not surprisingly. There's a sort of a purple rim, relatively deep, but not quite opaque colour there. Now, what's very noticeable about the aromas is the sort of the green phenolic note. Clearly a lot of these pedicels have been crushed up, and they're sitting in this juice at the moment, providing a lot of the solids that we're seeing on the side of the glass. So you're getting that green note first, but that's over a really lovely, vibrant, almost sort of raspberry through to mulberry note. There's quite a spicy edge to some lovely juicy fruit. Let's taste. The first time I tried juice pre-fermentation, it was a bit of a shock that actually it was sweet. You know, you think of a dry wine, but we've got here, I think this was picked at 23 bricks, which is the equivalent of about 13 Beaumet. So we're expecting about 13 degrees of alcohol to come naturally from fermentation here. That sweetness has got a lovely cleanness, and actually that's quite dominant. There is a beautiful juicy sort of mulberry fruit to this, but there's not the sort of the pepperiness or something like that that you might expect. So let's have a look at the juice that's fermented for a bit there. Look at the colour. I mean, that's much deeper, much darker, much more purple, and that's just come from a day or so's cold soaking, leaching colour out of the skins into the juice. So actually quite an impressive depth of colour there. It's still quite cloudy, so not surprisingly it is opaque, but that's actually staining the glass there. There are still bits in this, but not quite as much as in the free run juice. So let's have a look at the aromas. Now that's very different. You're getting the start of some savoury notes there, which I think is some sort of fermentation note. Behind that, there are still some lovely, rich, ripe fruits. They're more sort of dark cherry, dark plum. And then there's a lifted, almost sort of sherbety note over the top. There's something, I think the fermentation, there's the excitement going on there that's sort of giving it a bit of a literal fizz, actually. So let's have a taste. On the palate, that's lost some of the sweetness. That's the first thing you note. Suddenly I'm seeing touches of meatiness. There's quite a smooth, chocolatey note on the palate. And there's plentiful peppery spice as well, as sort of a real sort of warmth to the mid-palate. Currently, flavours are lasting quite well. Acidity seems quite soft. We're starting to get some tannic structure. They're nice fine tannins. There's a velvety nature to them, I suppose, and that's coming in with the sort of the chocolatiness, which is probably a fermentation note there. But yeah, so I found this a really interesting exercise to do, so I hope I'm sharing it with you in a way that you find that as well. Thank you so much for watching. If you find the video interesting, please press the like button. If you'd like to see more of our videos, please sign up and follow us. That way you can set yourself a notification and you can be warned every time that we publish a new video. Do feel free to share the video with your friends. Do feel free to leave any comments you have in the box below. Just yet, I can't leave a link to where you can buy the wine, but I will leave a link to our notes on Syrah so that you can follow that up and you can find out a little more about the variety if you'd like. So thank you very much for joining us. I hope you've enjoyed the tasting, and I do hope we'll see you again soon. Bye for now.